Hello Sycamores, we are going to be reading The Sheep Pig by Dick King-Smith. And Dick King-Smith is an author who is really famous for writing stories about animals. So we've been studying fables. So fables are short stories, often about animals. And this is a longer story about some animals. And it says here, the master of animal adventures. So he's well known for being a really good writer about animals, and this story, The Sheep Pig, was the basis for the film Babe. So this book came first, and then they made a film, Babe, based on this story. So some bits will be the same and some bits will be different. So we're going to start on chapter 1, and chapter 1 is called Guess My Weight. "What's that noise?" said Mrs. Hoggett, sticking her comfortable round red face out of the kitchen window. "Listen there it is again. Did you hear it? What a racket! What a row! Anybody'd think someone was being murdered. Oh dearie me, whatever is it? Just listen to it, will you?" Farmer Hoggett listened. From the usually quiet valley below the farm came a medley of sounds. The oompa of a brass band, the shouts of children, the rattle and thump of a skittle alley, and every now and then a high, very loud, very angry sounding squealing, lasting perhaps 10 seconds. Farmer Hoggett pulled out an old pocket watch as big round as a saucer and looked at it. "Fair starts at 2, he said. It started. "I knows that," said Mrs. Hoggett, "because I'm late now with all these here cakes and jams and pickles and preserves as is meant to be on the produce stall this very minute. And who's going to take them there, I'd like to know? Why, you are. But afore you does, what's that noise?" The squealing sounded again. "That noise?" Mrs. Hoggett nodded a great many times. Everything that she did was done at great length, whether it was speaking or simply nodding her head. Farmer Hoggett, on the other hand, never wasted his energies or his words. "Pig," he said. Mrs. Hoggett nodded a lot more. "I thought 'twas a pig. I said to myself, that's a pig, that is, only nobody round here do keep pigs. 'Tis all sheep for miles about. What's a pig doing, I said to myself. Anybody'd think they was killing the poor thing. Have a look when you take all this stuff down, which you better do now. Come and give us a hand. It can go in the back of the Land Rover. 'Tisn't raining, 'twon't hurt. Wipe your boots before you comes in." "Yes," said Farmer Hoggett. When he had driven down to the village and made his delivery to the produce stall, Farmer Hoggett walked across the green, past the hoopla stall and the coconut shy, and the Aunt Sally and the skittles and the band, to the source of the squealing noise, which came every now and again from a small pen of hurdles in the far corner, against the churchyard wall. So a hurdle is like a little fence. So you know they do the hurdles in athletics now. When they very first started doing that race, they didn't have hurdles like they are now. They actually used a fence to jump over, and that's why we call them hurdles, because they are like a little fence. By the pen sat the vicar, notebook in hand, a cardboard box on the table in front of him. On the hurdles hung a notice, "Guess my weight, 10 pence a go." Inside was a little pig. As Farmer Hoggett watched, a man leaned over and picked it out of the pen. He hefted it into both hands, frowning and pursing his lips in a considering way, while all the time the piglet struggled madly and yelled blue murder. So it looked a bit like that. The moment it was put down, it quietened. Its eyes, bright, intelligent eyes, met the farmer's. They regarded one another. One saw a tall, thin, brown-faced man with very long legs, and the other saw a small, fat, pinky white animal with very short ones. "Oh, come along, Mr. Hoggett," said the vicar. "You never know, he could be yours for 10p. Guess his weight correctly, and at the end of the day, you could be taking him home." "Don't keep pigs," said Farmer Hoggett. He stretched out a long arm and scratched its back. Gently, he picked it up and held it before his face. It stayed quite still and made no sound. "That's funny," said the vicar. "Every time so far that someone has picked him up, he's screamed his head off. He seems to like you. You'll have to have a guess." Carefully, Farmer Hoggett put the piglet back in the pen. Carefully, he took a 10p piece from his pocket and dropped it in the cardboard box. Carefully, he ran one finger down the list of guesses already in the vicar's notebook. "Quite a variation," said the vicar. "Anything from £20 to 40 so far." He wrote down Mr. Hoggett and waited, pencil poised. Once again, slowly, thoughtfully, the farmer picked the piglet up. Once again, it remained still and silent. £31, said Farmer Hoggett. He put the little pig down again. "And a quarter," he said. £31.25. Thank you, Mr. Hoggett. We shall be weighing the little chap at about 4:30. Be gone by then. Ah, well, we can always telephone you if you should be lucky enough to win. Never win anything. As he walked back across the green, the sound of the pigs yelling rang out as someone else had to go. So Mr. Hoggett says, "I never win anything." So what does that usually mean in a story if the character says, "I never win anything"? That they're going to win something. "You do never win nothing," said Mrs. Hoggett at tea time, when her husband, in a very few words, had explained matters. "Though I've often thought I'd like a pig. We could feed him on scraps, and he'd come just right for Christmas time. Just think, 2 nice hams, 2 sides of bacon, pork chops, kidneys, liver, chitlin, trotters, save his blood for the black pudding." Oh, there's the phone. Farmer Hoggett picked it up. "Oh," he said. What do you think someone has told him on the other end of the phone? Yeah, I think so too. We'll find out for definite next time I read. Hope you enjoyed it. Oh, still going.